is the voice in the wilderness of the people, coming to you in the great wind. This is the day that EZER has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I pray that EZER have kept you in great strength. He have protected you from all danger, from all accidents, and from all iniquities. And that you've been calling on his name and singing his praise and giving him thanks for everything. Praise EZER Almighty. Praise EZER. My brothers and sisters, I come to you again in the name EZER. Today I come with a caution to all my people about the words of EZER that he has given to us through his prophets. We must be very careful not to take his word out of his book without listening to them or getting to know them before we bring them to the people. For if we don't, we will cause our people to err. In the book of Jeremiah chapter 15 verse 16, Jeremiah says to EZER, your words were found, and I did eat them, and your words were unto me a joy and a rejoicing of my heart. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 1, Ezekiel says, EZER said unto me, Son of man, eat that you find, eat this roll, and go and speak unto the house of EZER-IAH. My brothers and sisters, we are to eat the words before we speak to the people in the house of EZER-IAH. We are to be right in all that we say. We are not to take any part of our holy book out of its context from the message that they are bringing to us. We must know Isaiah the prophet came about 100 years before Jeremiah, and Jeremiah was prophesying for about 40 years in Jerusalem before EZER called Ezekiel while he was in captivity in Babylon. And Jeremiah at that time was old and in prison because of his prophesying by warning the people of EZER's pending judgment for their wrongdoings. In Isaiah chapter 1 verse 39, Isaiah is speaking of judgment and hope for Jerusalem and the people concerning what will come from Assyria and the Babylonian captivity. In Isaiah chapter 40 to 48, Isaiah is speaking of a new era, a new hope that will begin for the people of EZER-IAH if they will learn from the mistakes that caused the judgment of EZER to come upon them and will cause them to go into captivity. And is saying to them that they shall serve EZER. But some of them were debating whether they shall serve EZER or the God of Assyria, Asherah, or the God of Babylon, Baal, Elord. The argument was that these idols were more powerful because they were able to take them from their land and rule over them. They did not comprehend the wrongdoings that they were doing were the cause of what happened to them. So they continued worshiping the idols. Isaiah chapter 51, verse 16. I have put my words in your mouth and have covered you with the shadow of my hands. I have established the heaven and laid the foundation of the earth, and say unto Zion, you are my people. Here, Isaiah is saying to Isaiah that he has covered him. He has put his word in his mouth, and he has covered him. And he is telling him that he has established the heavens. Isaiah have established the foundation of the earth. And Isaiah is saying to him that he will speak to his people from Zion and say to them that they are his people. My people, this was the assignment given to Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiah. And that's what they did. But the people were not listening to them, as we see in Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 27, telling us they wouldn't listen. In Zechariah chapter 7, 13, they will not listen. Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 5, they wouldn't listen. Chapter 2, verse 7, they wouldn't listen. In chapter 3, verse 7, they wouldn't listen. They wouldn't listen to the men whom Isaiah sent with his message to them. Isaiah gave these three prophets the same assignment at different times. Jeremiah in chapter 1, verse 9. Then Isaiah stretched out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, behold, I have put my words in your mouth. Isaiah did the same to Ezekiel in chapter 3, verse 27. But when I speak to you, I will open your mouth, and you shall say unto them a reprover, for they are a rebellious people. In Isaiah chapter 53, Isaiah is prophesying that Isaiah will send a report to EZER-IAH by his arm, and that they will reject him. They will despise him. They will not hold him in any esteem. Although Isaiah is the one who smitten him, putting him through all his sorrows and his affliction, to bring this report to EZER-IAH, they will not accept him, nor the report that he will bring. My people, Ezekiel is the arm Isaiah was prophesying about. Until today, the children of EZER-IAH have not accepted him, nor the report he brought. Instead, they accepted JC, the idol the Romans have created for them. That idol the Roman has put on a piece of wood. Here Isaiah is saying, Isaiah will send this man, Ezekiel, with a report that they should believe, they should know all that's in this report. For when they do, they will change their ways, and until now, they have not. In Isaiah chapter 60 to 62, Isaiah is saying how good Isaiah is to EZER-IAH. He is describing Isaiah's goodness. Isaiah chapter 63 and 64 are prayers of Isaiah. Chapter 65 and 66. Isaiah is prophesying Isaiah's judgment unto the wicked, those of the house of Isaiah, the ones who worship idols, those who commit the sin of idolatry, those who are taking Isaiah's holy things and offering them to idols. Chapter 65, verse 1. I seek for them, they don't seek for me. I look for them, they don't look for me. I beg them to come to me. Come to me, to the people who are not called by my name. Here Isaiah is saying how he accepted us, how he took us. And since then he's been begging us to come unto him. But we still are not listening. Verse 2. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, who walk in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. Isaiah is telling us that we are not listening. We are following our own ways. A people, verse 3, a people that provoke me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifice in gardens and burn incense upon altars of brick. They are not burning their incense unto Aya. They are not sacrificing in his house. Verse 4, that remain among the graves and lodge in the mountains, that eat swine's flesh and broth of abominable things in their vessels. They eat unclean things. They offer sacrifice in the forests, on the mountains, on the trees. Verse 5. Who say, stand by yourself, come not near to me, for they are holier than you. These are smoke in my nose, a fire that burn all day. I am saying to you that these are the people who feel they are holier than everyone else. Because you're not seeing what they are doing, but they are doing it in the dark. They're hiding to do it. Like the men that was in the house in Aya's temple when Ezekiah had to go into the wall and see what they do. Verse 6. Behold, it is written before me, I will not keep silent, but will recompense, even recompense into your bosom. He is telling them, those that are doing these things, that he is going to pay them back. They're going to get what they do. They're going to get paid for it. Punishment. Verse 7. Your iniquities and the iniquities of your fathers together, our ancestors, those who practice these witchcraft and all these things that our people are still doing. Listen to what he's saying. Says Aya, you have burned incense upon the mountains and blasphemed me upon the hills. They was not calling on his name. They are calling on the idols. That's the blaspheme, to change his name. Therefore, I will measure your former work into your bosom. They're going to be punished for their work. Thus says Aya, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one says, don't destroy it, for a blessing is in it. So will I do for my servants' sake, that I will not destroy them. Please read the rest of the chapter. Here, all that Aya will do for those of his people who turn from idolatry, those who refuse to offer his holy things to idols, as most of the world is doing today. In Isaiah chapter 66, Isaiah is continuing prophesying to the people, our ancestors, giving them Isaiah's message. Chapter 66, verse 1. Thus says Isaiah, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that you built unto me? And where is the place of my rest? Isaiah is saying to Isaiah to ask the people that question, because no one was seeking Isaiah. No one was calling out to him at that time. Verse 2. For all those things has my hand made, and all those things have been, says Isaiah. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and tremble at my word. Isaiah is saying everything is his. They all were made by him, and he will look to the people who are humble, who will listen to his words, the words that the prophet is speaking to them, because it's the poor and the humble who will listen and repent. But for those who will not listen, I is saying how he will judge their behavior. In verse 3, he says, he that kills an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices a lamb is as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offers an obligation is as if he offers swine's blood. He that burns incense is as if he bless an idol. Yes, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delight in their abominations. Here, Isaiah is saying that the people have left his way and are gone on their own ways. All the things they are to be offered unto Isaiah, from all the things he has given to them, they are now offering them to their idols, the familiar spirits, etc. They have turned all his holy things unholy by what they do with them in their own ways. They are no longer using them in Isaiah's way. They are not offering these things to him. And this is what Isaiah is saying to Isaiah, that he shall say to the people. He is not saying that killing an ox is an abomination, but doing this as an offering to idols or devils or demons is an abomination. It is as if you kill a man to Isaiah. Number 2, sacrificing a lamb that Isaiah has commanded us to do is not an abomination, but offering a lamb to idols, familiar spirit, devils, or demons, is an abomination. It is as if you offer a dog to Isaiah. Number 3, for someone to offer a free will offering to EZER, as he says we should do, is not an abomination. But offering anything to idols, demons, Satan, Lucifer, and all the spirits that work for them is an abomination. It's as if you offer swine's blood to EZER. Number 4, he that burns incense has not committed abomination. But he who burns incense to an idol, he has committed abomination. Is as if he bless an idol in EZER's sight. Yes, they have chosen their own ways. Their soul delight in their abominations. That's those who do those things. Verse 4. Also, EZER will choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them, because when EZER called, none did answer. When EZER speak, they did not hear. But they did evil before EZER's eye, and choose that in which EZER delights not, because they will not listen. EZER will do this to them. Verse 5. Hear the word of EZER. Pay attention to his word. Your brethren that hated you, they that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let EZER be glorified. But he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. Hear the word of EZER. He is saying that they that are not answering to EZER's words are some of our brothers. But they hate us because of EZER's name. They will not listen to us as they are not listening to the prophets. They're not listening to our Father. They're not listening to EZER himself. They will say glory to EZER when you say it, but they don't believe in EZER. They will appear as though they are rejoicing in the love of EZER. They will just appear, but they are not. But EZER will put them to shame. That's why we must learn the words of EZER. We must comprehend his words before we speak them. In the book of Numbers, chapter 23, verse 19, it states, EZER is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of a man. He's telling us here he is not Jesse, that he should repent. Has he said, and shall he not do it? Or has he spoken, and shall he not make it good? EZER is saying we need to listen to every word, because we need to know what he's saying in these words. Because whatever he's saying in these words, that's what he means. My people, here are some of the words EZER spoke to the prophets that they were to bring to his people, the Israelites, and to the strangers who will come unto him and worship him in spirit and in truth, in obedience to his name, laws, and promises. Here are some laws concerning offerings of sweet savor to EZER. Numbers chapter 15 verse 13. All that are born of the country, all who are born Israelites, shall do these things after this manner, in offering an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto EZER. Numbers chapter 15 verse 24. And if a stranger sojourn with you, or whosoever be among you in your generations, and will offer an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto EZER, as you do, so he shall do. So when we have strangers among us, non-Israelites, they have to do as we do. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 1. Now, when anyone presents a grain offering as an offering to EZER, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil on it, and put frankincense on it. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 2. And he shall bring it to Aaron's sons the priests, and he shall take thereof out his handful of the flour thereof, and of the oil thereof, with all the frankincense thereof, and the priest shall burn the memorial of it upon the altar, to be an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto EZER. My brothers and sisters, we do not have a temple and we have no priest, but we can still offer sweet savor unto EZER, our Redeemer. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 11. No grain offering which you bring to EZER shall be made with leaven, for you shall not offer up in smoke any leaven or any honey as an offering by fire to EZER. These are the two things we are prohibited to offer unto EZER. Baking powder, yeast, soda, anything that causes fermentation, and honey. We are not to offer that in fire unto EZER. Leviticus chapter 23 verse 13. Its grain offering shall then be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, an offering by fire to EZER for a soothing aroma, with its drink offering 1/4 of a hin of wine. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 3. The remainder of the grain offering belongs to Aaron and his sons, a thing most holy of the offering to EZER by fire. Most holy. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 14. Also, if you bring a grain offering of early ripened things to EZER, you shall bring fresh heads of grain roasted in the fire, grit of new growth, for the grain offering of your early ripened things. Leviticus chapter 6 verse 14. Now, this is the law of the grain offering. The sons of Aaron shall present it before EZER in front of the altar. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 13. Every grain offering of yours, moreover, you shall season with salt, so that the salt of the covenant of your mighty one shall not be lacking. From your grain offering, with all of your offerings, you shall offer salt. Leviticus chapter 7 verse 37. This is the law of the burnt offering, the grain offering, and the sin offering, and the guilt offering, and the ordination offering, and the sacrifice of peace offering. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 7. Now, if your offering is a grain offering made in a pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 8. When you bring in the grain offering that is made of these things to EZER, it shall be presented to the priest, and he shall bring it to the altar. Leviticus chapter 23 verse 37. These are the appointed times of EZER that you shall proclaim as holy convocation, to present offerings by fire to EZER, burnt offerings, grain offerings, sacrifice and drink offerings. Each day's matter on its own day. EZER has given us appointed days and time for certain offerings. Exodus chapter 30 verse 9. You shall not offer any strange incense on this altar, or burnt offering, or meal offering, and you shall not pour out a drink offering on it. He's telling us where we have to do it and when we cannot do it. And we are not to burn strange incense. He told us it's frankincense. He told us what we can burn. For the showbread, for the continual grain offering, for the continual burnt offering, the Sabbaths, the new moon, for the appointed times, for the holy things, and for the sin offering, to make atonement for EZER-IAH, and all the work of the house of our mighty one. That's Nehemiah chapter 10 verse 33. Leviticus chapter 6 verse 23. So every grain offering of the priest shall be burned entirely. It shall not be eaten. Ezekiel chapter 46 verse 15. Thus they shall provide the lamb, the grain offering, and the oil, morning by morning, for a continual burnt offering. The lamb, Ezekiel 46 verse 14. Also you shall provide a grain offering with it morning by morning, a sixth of an ephah, and a third of a hin of oil, to moisten the fine flour, a grain offering to EZER continually by a perpetual ordinance, morning by morning. Listen to the words of EZER, my people. The people who have broken down your house and destroyed your temple have caused you not to do these things to EZER. And they have turned you astray and have you now worshiping idols. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 6. You shall break it into bits and pour oil on it. It is a grain offering. Leviticus 2 verse 5. If your offering is a grain offering made on the griddle, it shall be of fine flour, unleavened, mixed with oil. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 10. The remainder of the grain offering belongs to Aaron and his sons. a thing most holy of the holy offering to IAH by fire. Ezekiah chapter 45 verse 17. It shall be the prince's part to provide the burnt offering, the grain offering, and the drink offering at the feasts, on the new moon, and on the Sabbaths, at all the appointed feasts, on the new moons, and on the Sabbaths, at all the appointed feasts of the house of EZER-IAH. He shall provide the sin offering, the grain offering, the burnt offering, the peace offering, to make atonement for the house of EZER-IAH. Leviticus chapter 2 verse 4. Now, when you bring an offering of a grain offering baked in an oven, it shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, or unleavened wafers spread with oil. Numbers 29 verse 6. Besides the burnt offering of the new moon and its grain offering, and the continual burnt offerings and its grain offerings, and the drink offerings, according to the ordinances, for a soothing aroma, and offering by fire to IAH. Numbers 28 verse 9. Then on the Sabbath day, 2 male lambs, 1 year old, without defect, and 2/10 of an elf of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering and its drink offering. Numbers 8 verse 8. Then let them take a bull with its grain offering, fine flour mixed with oil, and a second. The bull you shall take for a sin offering. Leviticus 9 verse 17. Next, he present the grain offering and filled his hand with some of it and offered it up in smoke on the altar besides the burnt offering of the morning. Nehemiah chapter 13 verse 5. Had prepared a large room for him, where formerly they put the grain offering, the frankincense, the utensils, and the tithes of grain, wine, and oil prescribed for the Levites, the singers, and the gatekeepers, and the contributions of the priest. As the EZER-IAHites, we must know what our mighty one commands us to do. We are to know his ways by his words, not the words of the Jews, Christians, Muslims, nor the words in their book, neither in the words of the book they stuck to our book, the New Testament. This is our laws. These are the commandments. These are commandments given to us. These are things we are supposed to do. And the only reason we are not doing it now is because we are in captivity, because of our transgression, refusing to do them. Instead, our ancestors went doing them unto idols. And that's why we are scattered to the four corners of the earth. Don't criticize what is given to you by your mighty one to do. Read the book, my brothers and sisters. Here is more scripture in our book, where IAH is saying to us how we are to offer sweet savor unto him. Genesis chapter 8 verse 21, Exodus 29:18, Exodus 29:25, Exodus 29:41, Leviticus 1:9, Leviticus 1:13, 1 and 13, Leviticus chapter 1 verse 17, Leviticus chapter 2 verse 9, Leviticus chapter 3 verse 5, Leviticus chapter 3 verse 16, Leviticus chapter 4 verse 31, Leviticus chapter 6 verse 15, Leviticus chapter 6 verse 21, Leviticus chapter 8 verse 21, Leviticus chapter 8 verse 28, Leviticus 17 verse 6, Leviticus 23 verse 13, Leviticus 23 verse 18, Leviticus 26 verse 31, Numbers 15 verse 3, Numbers chapter 15 verse 7, Numbers chapter 15 verse 10, Numbers chapter 15 verse 13, Numbers chapter 15 verse 14, Numbers chapter 15 verse 24, Numbers chapter 18 verse 17, Numbers 28 and 2, Numbers 28 and 6, Numbers 28 and 8, Numbers 28 and 13, Numbers 28 and 24, Numbers 28 and 27, Numbers 29 and 2, Numbers 29 and 6, Numbers 29 and 8, Numbers 29 and 13, Numbers 29 and 36. Ezekiel chapter 6 verse 13. It reads, what Ai will do to them for offering to idols. Ezekiel 16 verse 19. They took what Ai gave and made offering to idols. Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 28. They offered to idols. That's what Isaiah was speaking about and prophesying to our people about. Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 41. I will accept your sweet savor when I bring you out from the people and gather you out of the countries where you have been scattered. And I will be sanctified in you before the heathen. Here Isaiah is telling us we will have to do the same things that our ancestors didn't do. The same laws that I just shown you, we have to do them. We will have to make these offerings to Ai when he gathers us again before the heathen. Where are we going to be before the heathen? Before the heathen is right here, my brothers and sisters, among the heathen, as we are in their faces, as he is gathering us. He is bringing us back to him. It's a spiritual gathering. He is bringing us back to him. And that's why he is saying we have to do this in the face of the heathen, while we're still among the heathen. Please read these scriptures. They are all for us, Israelites. I know that our enemies have told us that all that our mighty one has given to us is not good for us, such as his name, his laws, his promises, his land, and even the offerings he requires from us. Yet we find ourselves accepting all their laws, promises, land, and all their idols with their names and the offerings they require. So I beg you, get out of this mental slavery. Free yourselves, my people, and read your book. Here are some scriptures about making free will offering of our own will. Exodus 35 verse 20 to 29, Psalm 54, 6 to 7. It reads, willingly I will sacrifice to you. I will give thanks to your name, for it is good. For you has delivered me from all troubles, and my eyes have looked with satisfaction upon my enemies. Leviticus 22, 17 to 22. Leviticus chapter 7, verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 16, 9 and 12. Deuteronomy 12, 5 and 6. Chronicles 31 and 14. Ezra 2, 68. Ezra 7, 16. Ezra 8, 28. Nehemiah 7, 70 to 72. And Ezekiel chapter 46, verse 11 to 12. Numbers chapter 29, verse 39. Keep reading, my people. Keep reading and learn the ways of Ai. And don't let anybody distract you from the ways of EZER-IAH. And don't open your mouth unless you know what you're saying is true. EZER-IAH listens to every word that comes from our mouth. Praise EZER-IAH, praise EZER-IAH Almighty, praise EZER-IAH, praise EZER-IAH Almighty.